First off, before we get off inside this video is going to be structured just a little bit different. This information that I'm getting ready to share in this video has never been posted anywhere. I've spent countless amount of hours searching all over forums, searching all over YouTube to find if there was anyone who was actually successful at replacing the SSD and it works. Yeah, there's people on YouTube that show you, hey, I could take out my old SSD and just put in a new one, but they won't show you what turning on, because if they did show you the console turning on, it won't work. Now, I have a solution, but there's a couple loose ends that we need to tie up in order to be able to get this to work 100%. Now, this will work only if your old SSD, if we could be able to at least pull one partition. There is a raw partition that has no drive letter when you load it onto your computer with a NVMe reader that can read M.2 2230 SSDs. And I'm going to explain that all in this video. I spent a countless amount of hours figuring out everything on myself with absolutely no help, because no one was even attempted to do anything like this. So there's a couple loose ends that we need to tie up, and I'm going to need the help of some type of person that can do programming or scripting. So maybe we could create some type of flash software to where it say, hey, if we lose the old SSD, or if there's water damage on that old SSD and it doesn't read at all, we will still need to be able to pull that raw partition off there. We might have to be able to create some raw flashware software or something, I don't know, to where we could be able to just completely just flash it over. Now, here's the other thing too. You don't know if your SSD is completely broken until you actually get down to the motherboard and hook it into your computer. And even if it is completely, a bunch of the partition is corrupted and destroyed, as long as that raw partition is intact, we can be able to extract that with a program that I have. It's a free software, and you can be able to put that partition on another SSD, just another 2230 SSD that we can be able to fit inside of this console. Also, to my hardware makers, there needs to be a way to be able to convert this from a 2230 to like a 2240, so we can be able to put bigger SSDs than just a 2230 M.2 SSD inside of this. So please, someone try to figure it out. And scripters, please watch this video. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to tie this video with the video that I initially started. So that video is going to start, and then it's going to come back into today with all the discovery and everything that I figured out with the countless amount of hours that I spent working on this project. I mean, this was by far one of the craziest projects that I've ever done, because there was absolutely zero help. So please watch this video, watch it from the beginning, and once it comes back to where I'm at today, I will let you guys know. So let's go. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dave here with Go Gamers. So today we have another interesting Xbox Series X repair. This is our second Xbox Series X today on the agenda. And here it is right here. Now, this one is very interesting. Before we even go over to the upper camera or anything, I actually want to read what they say, what the customer says about this console. They say Xbox turns on, but delayed by 10 minutes on startup. Will not hard reset. Was taken apart to check HDMI, but HDMI port works fine. So what they're saying is when they turn it on, just nothing happens. It just stays on, no signal. It's as if no video is getting through. They took it apart, they checked the HDMI port looks fine, and they're wondering why their console is not displaying any video and why it just shows no signal on the TV. So let's go over to the upper cam and see what's going on. All right, guys, so as you can see, have a Xbox Series X. Now we're going to do some diagnostics on this one real quick. Now what I want to do is do this. Turn it this way, just so I can have it at an angle. So we're going to press and hold the sync button the eject button, and we're going to just press the power button. We're not going to hold the power button. We're just going to press it. We're going to hold the sync and eject button, and we're going to tap the power button. And what this does is this lets us know exactly what's going on. Now, here are some possible scenarios. If the console turns on and just does one beep, the initial startup beep, and you're continuously holding the eject and the sync button together, and that you don't hear another beep or anything like that, typically that's usually something with the Xbox One. It would usually be something with the hard drive, but in this particular case, it could be something with the SSD. Now, if we hold the eject, the sync button, and we press the power button, and you do hear the beeps, but you still get no signal on the TV, what that signifies is that there's either something wrong with the HDMI filters, the HDMI retimer. It could be an EMI filter. It could be anything on the HDMI header that could have gone wrong that we would have to open up and replace. So we're looking at possibly two things right now, either SSD or something going on with the HDMI port. So let's go ahead. I'm holding down the sync button. As you can see, I'm not going to let it go. Press the eject. Now press the power. I just heard the initial startup beep. Now I still got the eject and sync button held down together. I'm not letting go. I'm going to hold down for at least 10 to 15 seconds. Now I haven't been counting, but I'm just going to hold down a little bit longer. I still have not yet heard an additional beep. So no beeps have come up. So that means it can't even make it into the safe mode. So let's take it down to the motherboard. Let's see what's going on with that SSD. Now, the thing is, if you guys don't know, these have SSD known as the M.2 2230 SSDs. And a 1 terabyte M.2 2230 SSD, you got to replace it. It's like a $300 SSD. So hopefully it's something simple that we could be able to open up and then maybe replace some components on that SSD or maybe do a reflow. But I'm not 100% sure yet. So let's take it down to the board and see what's going on. All right, guys, so we got it all the way down to the motherboard. Now, for good measures, always good just to double check the HDMI port, and we're going to go over to our microscope like so. All right, so as you can see, those pads look pretty good in there. So let's go to the actual pins on the header. So as you can see, all the pins look good from what I could tell. And as expected, these pins are all good. So if you guys don't know, this is where the SSD is at, where this thermal pad is at. So let's switch back over to the upper cam. And look at this SSD. So this is where the SSD is located. So let's take off this cover and check out the SSD. So as you can see, here is the SSD. Let me take it out. All right, so we got the SSD out of the slot. Now this, once again, is an M.2 2230 SSD. As you can see, it's a Western Digital. All right, so yeah, that is the SSD that we have inside of here. And just by looking at the SSD, it's hard to tell if any of the components is messed up. All right, guys, so we are cut back to today, like I explained to you guys at the beginning of the video. Now I want to show you guys some quick discoveries. Here is our Xbox Series, okay? Here is our SD card reader. Actually, that is not our original SD card. Here is the original SSD. Now, these are M.2s, 2230s. You can buy these on eBay. These are also found in Microsoft Surfaces. So if you have an old Microsoft Surface, or if you just go online and just type in Microsoft Surface SSD, you'll be able to actually find this exact SSD. Just an SSD to be able to fit in here. I know a lot of people say, oh, it has to be, this is a custom. When I was reading forums online, people say, oh, this is a custom PCI Express 4. It won't go back to a 3. That's not true. PCI Express 4s are automatically backwards with a PCI Express 3. So don't even pay attention to those guys in those forums. But here is what it would do if I was just to put a brand new SSD in there without that raw partition on it. And I'm going to show you guys after this how to be able to correctly partition it and what to be able to do next. So here's what it does if you just put another SSD in it. Even if you, guys, I have scripts, the same scripts that you will use to partition the Xbox One hard drive. You take that script, you partition it exactly the way it needs to be. I even hand partitioned it multiple times. Went in and I hand partitioned every single way, the exact way the Xbox Series is structured. It did not work whatsoever. Here's this. Now this one is clean. It's fresh. As you can see, it turns on and it turns right back off. I fully cleaned this drive. I took all the partitions off of it because that doesn't work. So here's what we're going to do next. We're going to go over to our computer. I'm going to take my NVMe M.2 2230 reader and make sure if you get a reader, make sure it's not a SATA reader. You can get these off of Amazon. Make sure it's not a SATA reader, but a reader that can read NVMe. They look exactly the same, but they're not. So let's go over to my computer. Okay, so we are at my computer. Now what we're going to do is go over here to the search function, type in disk management, and then it should pop up something like this, create and format a hard disk. Depending on which Windows you have, doesn't matter. And also, let me go back into Streamlabs and make sure my screen is removed. Okay, there it is. Okay, so in here, here's what we're going to do next. We're going to go to where our drive is. Now, as you can see, this is disk 2. It reads it. Everything is intact. Also, let me look at that one more time. As you can see, sorry. So we're in here. And also, if you're wondering, hey, none of these drives have any letters. If you want to letter a drive in disk management, all you have to do is click it like that, change drive, add, and you can assign it a letter, and you can be able to thoroughly go through that drive if you want to try to back up anything. All user content is obviously on the folder of user content. That's what houses all of this folder right here is what houses all of your games, any content you have on your Xbox Series right here. So you can assign us a drive letter, and then you can explore that drive. And for example, I'm just going to assign it drive letter D. Doesn't matter which drive letter. And I'm going to open it. And as you see right here, all this information right here, I can copy over and store in a folder if your old SSD even lets you get that far. But obviously, if if it works and you're just trying to upgrade, then you could be able to pull all that data and put it in a folder on your desktop and put it in your new content, user content, once you get up the new hard drive. Now here is the partition that had me stuck. This is a raw partition. It's 1 gigabyte. It says it has a free space of 1 gig, but that's a fallacy. It does not have a space of 1 gigabyte. It's actually full. This is 1024 megabytes of a raw partition with no letter whatsoever. And I'm gonna get rid of this trial letter and get rid of that. Now, here is a free program of free software you could download. Mac Reflect, right here. We're gonna open that up, download this free software, and this is how we're going to do something known as imaging. We're going to create an image of that raw partition. You don't need any other partition. Now, if you want to create an image and you want a full backup, you can create a full image of your current SSD. If you're trying to upgrade to a 2 terabyte 2230 SSD, you can create a full image and you could just port it all over. But the thing is, if you're upgrading, you're gonna have to tweak the 802 gigabyte user data folder, which is right here, in order to hold more data for your games. But I will always recommend just copying over the raw file, just to keep it quick and simple, because everything backs up on Xbox anyways. We're going to click on image select on disk. And now what we're going to do is make sure everything else is unchecked. I don't want to copy anything else from any of my other hard drives. I don't want to copy any other partitions. Just this first 1024 megabyte raw partition. Now, where are we going to save it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a folder on my desktop, and you can make it anywhere. It does not matter where you make it. And I'm just going to call this folder new folder. Easy enough. Then you can also go into here and play with your advanced settings. You can play with your compression levels. None of this stuff really matters. You can set this to none. It will get it done even quicker, which it gets it done quick anyways. But it really doesn't matter what you set this to. You could just leave it at medium. You can also do things in here like scheduling. Just leave all that stuff blank. Don't touch anything over there. You go over to next. You click on finish. Uncheck this. Okay. So now what it's doing is creating a backup image, an exact version of what's in there. Okay. So I'm going to click on OK. Close that out, and I'm going to close that out as well. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my NVMe reader. I'm going to take out my original SSD, go back over to my Xbox Series, and I am going to pull TV turned off, and I am going to pull out my brand new SSD that I left in here, because obviously I was showing you guys that you just can't swap it out, even if you partition it correctly, even if you run a script, even if you create a script similar to the one like the Xbox One, it won't work. It needs that raw partition from the original drive. And if anyone's asking themselves, well, did you try to take a raw partition from another Xbox Series SSD and try to, just put it on one and put it in a different one? No, I have no idea what is on that 1024 megabyte partition, but whatever it is, it will not work if you try it with another Xbox Series. You could only pull the raw partition on the current SSD in there. So even if I was to give you guys my raw partition uploaded, it will not work. I have no idea why. Something on there is flash, which marries that raw partition directly to your motherboard. And when your console turns on, it immediately looks for that 1024 megabyte file with that 1024 megabyte partition. And if that 1024 megabyte partition is not married to the motherboard, it will not work. It's the weirdest thing. So now what we're going to do is take our new SSD, put it in the NVMe, and I am going to switch back over. All right, cool. So here is this. And as you can see, I already have a raw folder on here. I was experimenting with 3 different Xbox series. As you can see, we just had this SSD in there and it didn't work. This is a raw partition from another Xbox series that's only married to that Xbox series. It is the most interesting thing ever. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our Mac Reflect program, like so. We're going to open this up. Now what we're going to do is go to existing backups. And now let's find our backup out of that new folder, which is right here. It was created on 1/19, which is today. And we're going to go ahead and, click on restore. We're going to click on here. It's the new drive is blank, obviously. And we're going to click on next, finish. And what it's going to do, it's going to fully bring that over here. We're going to click on OK. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to take a flash drive like so, and we're going to hook it into our computer. You can now disconnect your SSD, and I'm plugging in my flash drive right now. I'm going to close out Mac Reflect, and now as you can see, I have a flash drive, and I'll show you guys how this works real quick. You want to take a new flash drive, format it to NTFS, open up your web browser. We're going to go to google.com. We're going to type in Xbox offline update. Perform an offline update. Once you get here, download the OSU1. There's nothing else you need. Click on the OSU1 file right here. It's going to download. Once it downloads, it's going to be in your download folder. You're going to extract it. It's going to create a folder like this. Within that folder is going to be the system update. You're going to put it on that flash drive, which I labeled as Xbox One. You can name it anything you want. I just keep it as Xbox One. And you're going to dump that system update folder in here. Within that system update folder, you're going to take the Xbox Series boot animation. And you're going to put it in here. The Xbox Series boot animation, what I had to do was actually take the boot, because there is no boot animation I was able to find online that anyone else uploaded. So looks like I'm going to be the first person to upload a boot animation of the Xbox Series. So as you can see right here, I literally just did a direct copy of the boot animation out of there. So I put it in the system update file. Without this boot animation, if you was to turn on your Xbox Series after updating this, it will not have an animation when it boot up. It won't have the little Xbox logo. It'll just be a black screen until it goes to the home screen. So make sure you take this boot animation file. And it's also in the link in the description. So I'm going to upload it to a share folder or whatever. If that share folder goes down at any point in time, shoot me a message, shoot me a call, get a hold of me ASAP so I can then upload the boot and re-upload the boot animation file. So now we have our Xbox One flash drive. We are ready to go back over to the upper cam. Take my flash drive. I'm going to now take my SSD, pop it in here. As you guys can see, we have it back in the housing. So as you can see, I got the flash drive with my system update on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this at an angle. I'm going to explain to you exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to hold down the sync button, hold down the eject button, and just press the power button, but not hold down the power button. Okay, so now I press the power button. As you can see, it's now on the screen. And I'm trying to get the camera at a better angle because I still got it held down just in case if it needs me to, but doesn't look like it does. So let's wait for this to get through. Okay, so now what we're going to do is plug in our controller like this. As you can see, I plugged in the micro USB. Plug in my controller right here. Right here. Troubleshoot. Offline system update. Right there. That's the option that we want. Clicked OK. And now it is updating. So let's see if it gets anywhere this time. Okay, so now it's at 2%, 3%. Okay, so I'll give this some time to update with that offline system update file and see where we could be able to get. And I will come right back with you guys. I'm going to go do some stuff. So I'm just going to let this sit right here and let it do its thing and update and everything and see what we could get. Okay, I am back. So came back, saw it's done. As you can see, let's skip that sign in. And what we're going to do is just make sure that the boot animation did copy over from that flash drive. And if it didn't copy over from the flash drive, then what we're going to have to do is just hook the SSD back up to the computer, copy over the boot animation manually, doing it that way. But I'm hoping we could be able to just get it copied over straight from the flash drive. So let's do it. Okay, so yeah, it's just a black screen. So looks like, yep, looks like we might have to do the boot animation. I'll try to restart it one more time just to make 100% sure. And if not, then I'll do the boot animation. I'll show you guys how to manually put the boot animation off through the SSD reader. All right, so let's go to my computer and I'm going to show you guys how to do the boot animation. I'm just going to plug in the old SSD that was in there and I'll show you guys how to be able to do that. Now, link is in the description for the boot animation file. So what we're going to do is go over here, type in disk management. I'm going to open this up. We're going to go to system update. Make sure this is assigned a drive letter. I'm going to open this up and I'll show you guys how I did that. I'm just going to click on it, change drive letter, add. I'm just going to get this drive letter X. Okay. Get us a drive letter. It's going to pop open right after that. And I'll show you guys like so. Okay. Usually automatically pops up, but it's fine. I'll just go in there. As you can see, this is what we will have in the folder. Now in folder A and folder B is where you want to put your boot animation. As you can see with the old SSD, it's already in there. But I'll show you guys, for example, how it's done. You want to take the boot animation file that I'm going to give you, and I'm just going to fully just take this off of here. So you're going to want to take this boot animation file, dump it on there. And obviously it won't ask for you to replace. If it does, just still replace it on A and B. And now we have the boot animation files on the Xbox Series. And as soon as you will hook it back up to the Xbox Series, put it all back together, it will now show the boot animation. Now, obviously, the Xbox Series boots up pretty quick. It boots up within like 5 seconds. So if you don't want to put the boot animation file on there, it's not a requirement. It's just obviously I want my SSD to be as original as possible. So I would love that boot animation file on there. Now, this was a crazy video. Now, please, if you guys can share this on some forums and Reddit, or just let people know the information that I was able to gather within my research and all the time that it took to do this. And I will make an update video if I can find out anything extra, because I really want to find out how can we just be able to just swap it out without having to use that, having to extract that raw data file. There has to be maybe a flash script someone can be able to create to where we can be able to flash it ourselves or something. I don't know. You know, I'm not a coder. I don't do scripts. I don't do any of that type of stuff. But there has to be something, because what if on the off chance this SSD was just completely blown off and I wouldn't have been able to extract that raw partition? Then I pretty much would have been screwed. So hopefully you guys can be able to figure out something, or just give me some ideas down in the comments. I've spent days working on this, so I've tried a lot of different things to try to get it to be able to work without that raw partition, but I at least wanted to bring you guys this piece of information. So if this video did help you guys out on swapping out or upgrading your SSD, or you know, if your other one was just partially shot out, but it was good enough for you to be able to extract that raw partition, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to this channel, like this video as well, and leave any comments if you have any comments for me. But besides that, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. See ya.